Hello Internet, my name is Hazel from Hazelnuttygames. It is actually Saturday. It's technically Saturday evening. We're looking at about 9:42 p.m. Pacific time, and that means Blizzcon has happened. Actually, I think the Linkin Park concert might still be happening. I'm not technically watching that. I'm sure it's very exciting if you're into Linkin Park. So, Blizzcon happened. There was lots and lots and lots to talk about. I'm just going to do the Cliff Notes versions of everything because there's so much to talk about. I may do more in-depth videos about my thoughts on all the individual things this week because we finally have stuff to talk about. But let's get right into it. BlizzCon's over. The most recent thing in my brain is the most recent thing that just happened, which is the WoW World Championships Arena Finals. They were like 3.5 hours late because I guess the Heroes of the Storm people took a really long time to play their games. But in any case, SK Gaming, spoiler alert, SK Gaming has won the final. They beat out Skillcapped EU in a Game 5. It was such a close series. It was so cool to watch. But the Turbo Clee from EU pulled out over the RMD from EU. Both teams played very well. It was super, super exciting. And even though a North American team didn't win, it's still really fun to watch. So I can't wait for next year. And that was just really, really well played. It's always fun to see players at that level and to see them like actually play like on a stage. And you know they're shouting in their mics and they're like banging on their keyboards, and it's a lot of fun. So that happened. What else did BlizzCon give us? They have unveiled both the Legion cinematic and the Warcraft movie trailer. So both separate things. Approximately the same length-ish. The Warcraft movie trailer, I think it looked good. There's definitely some compositing issues with the CGI. There's things that have been pointed out all over the internet in terms of lighting indiscrepancies and, sort of inaccuracies that happen when you put live-action actors into a CGI scene. But I think overall it looks pretty good. I have high hopes for this movie. I'm not, like, getting myself super excited about it, but I don't really get excited about movies. I'm not really a movie person. It's very hard for me to enjoy a movie because they're very long and you're just sort of sitting down watching it. And I'm so ADD now. Not that I'm actually ADD, but I'm just so used to having, 2 monitors and like a phone, a tablet, and all this information coming at once. And I'm almost never doing just one thing. That sitting down to watch a movie is never something that's really drawn me in. But in any case, I think the movie looks great. The CGI looks really good. The characters look really good. The acting looks like it'll be fine. So that's going to be coming out next June, and should be a good watch at least. It'll be fun to see what comes of that, and hopefully it does well enough so they can give us a sequel, because I think, and many other people think, that the Arthas story would make the best movie. That that story just has a cinematic feel to it. It's such a good dramatic story, and I'd love to see that on film. But in order for that to happen, this one needs to do well. And in terms of the Legion cinematic, oh my god, the Legion cinematic is good. It is my favorite cinematic that they've done since probably Wrath, and I think. I guess it just calls back to the Wrath cinematic with the way the words open. I'm not going to talk too much about it because you really need to watch it if you haven't watched it already. But, oh my god, it looked like, they always look good. They always look fantastic, but this one looked so good. And it gets me really hyped to play the Broken Shore intro and see where Legion takes us, which is why it sucks that Legion's not going to be out for a while. That's later in my list of things to talk about, but I guess I'll talk about it now. Legion's not going to be out for a while. I, in my mind, before BlizzCon, had hoped that they were going to launch beta right away and have a really short beta and put this thing out in, like, March. Now, that could happen. It's not off the table, but it's not looking likely. The final date that it absolutely must be out by, or else they're going to face a bunch of legal consequences, is September the 21st of 2016, which is a long time. I'll be 24. That's after my next birthday. That's a long time away. And then the date on the trailer said summer, so that means anywhere from like June to September. Of course, they could push it out earlier if they go God mode, but I really doubt that's going to happen because, let's face it, it's Blizzard and they have problems with deadlines. So we're looking at June at the best. Right now is November. November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. That is 8 months away. And Hellfire Citadel came out in June of this year that we're in right now. So if they don't release Legion until June, it's going to be a 1-year Hellfire Citadel, which is exactly what happened in Siege of Orgrimmar. It's exactly what happened in Dragon Soul. It's exactly what happened in ICC. And every single time they've told us they're not going to do this to us again, and it looks like it's going to happen again. And we don't even have a Ruby Sanctum, or there's nothing else for people to do. So I anticipate that not a lot of people are going to stick around. Like, obviously, we're going to have patch 6.2.3 coming soon. That should be, within the next 2 to 3 weeks, especially because they've already announced that the PvP season is ending soon. So I would expect within the next 2 to 3 weeks to see 6.2.3 drop, which is going to bring in Warlord Season 3 and a bunch of other stuff I've already forgotten about. It was important. We get a moose. I'm excited about that moose. but it's still going to be 8 months of that, and oh man, that's a long time to be stuck with just one raid and one PvP season, and I'll stick around, mind you. I will play WoW until there's only one other person playing WoW with me, and we're just dueling each other in Elven Forest somewhere. Unless they're Horde, in which case we'll probably, like, try and find each other around the world. But I don't know, I foresee this being kind of bad for the community, because a lot of people aren't going to have enough to do to stick around for that time. And I don't blame them. I mean, if you're into Fallout 4, if you're into Overwatch, you're getting really excited about Legacy of the Void, or there's a new Diablo patch coming out, or maybe you're really into Hearthstone, you want to go pro with that, or, like, maybe you got a dog or something, if you have something else to do. I don't judge you one bit for unsubbing from this game until Legion's a lot closer and you can kind of get ready for the new expansion, because they've done this consistently and it's just going to be a while before we get new content. There's nothing to really be done about it. It's not like, it wouldn't be good for them to rush the thing out. We want it to be done when we get it. And it's just a shame that it can't happen faster, but that's just life, and we're going to work with it. So Legion coming summer 2016. Maybe it'll come sooner than we think it is. Hopefully we get into beta soon. And once we get into beta, there'll be more information for us to go over. There's going to be lots more things to figure out. And it looks like they're really giving combat, like all of the specs and classes, they're giving a big work over to combat in Legion. So hopefully they spend enough time in beta to get that ironed out, and hopefully I can get into the beta so I can make some more of those cool class change videos to kind of highlight what direction things are going, and see where pets are going, and see where PvP is going, and class halls and artifacts. And I would really love to be in that beta, or at the very least have somebody in the beta so that I can, you know, feverishly watch their videos and read their tweets and stuff. So hopefully that's soon. I heard secondhand that they said that that's going to be in the coming weeks now. They've said that before and had it turn into many months, so we really don't know when that's going to be, but hopefully it's soon. But in any case, back to happier, exciting Legion news, because they did tell us quite a bit at Blizzcon. The transmog system is getting redone, and it's going to be Diablo, but better. So nothing but good news on the transmog system front. So what's happening? Tabards are being added to transmog. So you don't have to carry around a bunch of tabards. Shirts are being added to transmog, and most importantly, you will no longer have to keep an item once you have learned its ability, learned its look. So if you have a thing and you can put it on, that look is now bound to your account, and your account, any character in your account that could have equipped that item will be able to transmog that thing, which means that you can delete it and clear out your void storage and clear out your bank and clear it out of tabards and get rid of all your shirts. I mean, you can keep them if you want them for sentimental value, but you'll have the appearance saved to your account forever. So everything that you've ever picked up, well, everything that you have in your bank and void storage, and anything that was a reward of any quest you've done in the past, even if you didn't pick that reward, if you completed a quest and had an item as a reward, that item's appearance will be added to your transmog journal. They showed us the interface. There are screenshots flying around the internet, and it looks a lot like the Diablo system. You'll have a big screen. It's got a grid of little icons in it, and you'll select, you want to look through you want to look through your helms, you want to look through your shoes, and you will have to scroll through a lot of them, because you can get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of each individual slot of item. And most excitingly for some people, shoulders. Shoulders will be hideable. You will now be able to hide your shoulder armor. So if your shoulders were getting in the way of your life, and you're one of those people that had like the smallest possible shoulders transmog because you wanted to see the lines of your body, you can hide them in Legion. That's something I used to be really excited about. I used to hate having to wear shoulder armor, but I found some really cool shoulders to match my transmogs recently, so I don't know where I'm going to land on that, but hey, I'll have options, and options are great. So that's transmog. Let's talk about specs. Let's talk about specifically dual spec. People have been forever asking for a third spec, so that, you know, you're a mage, Arcane's really good for this fight, Fire's really good for this fight, you want to be Frost for PvP, you're feeling torn between your raiding life and your PvP life. I don't know if this has actually happened to anybody ever, but you can only have 2 specs. You will now be able to have as many specs as specs there are. So Druids can be quad spec, everybody else can be tri-spec, Demon Hunters will be dual spec because they only have 2. And you'll be able to switch between your available specializations. Now, what I think this means is it means you will no longer be able to have 2 different specs of the same spec. If that makes any sense, you won't be able to have, like, I won't be able to have 2 shadow specs, one set up for one thing, one set up for another thing. But because there's so few choices to be made in terms of talents, and the consequence to switching out talents is so small, that's not really a big deal. If you really want to have 2 different UI set up that you switch between, there's add-ons that can do that for you. So you'll be able to have as many specs as specs are, and I think that's super really cool. I had another advert to go in there. I lost it. Anyways. Specs. You can be whatever spec you want, which is kind of overwhelming as a druid player that's only ever been restoration. But maybe I'll collect some other stuff and try out some other things. I think that'd be kind of neat. Oh, water's great. So, in terms of specs, while talking about specs, you have to, of course, mention artifact weapons. Artifact weapons, they now have a web page, so you can peruse this at your own leisure. It is... I don't remember where it is. If I find it, I'll put it in a link below the description here. But it's in the Legion, on the Legion website. It's in the class info, and you can now look at every single artifact weapon for every spec. You will be able to see a model and like an example of an upgraded one, and it has the names of them all. They're almost all really cool. A couple specs have kind of boring looking ones, but I'm hoping some of the other skins, or maybe once they're further in development, they have more particle effects, more animations. Maybe they adjust sizes on things a little bit, things get a little bit more cool. My shadow one is it's got a really cool name. It's like Zalatath dark something of the something something. It's like got a really cool name, and it's this dagger. And I can get on board with having a dagger, but it's like a little curly dagger, and it's like this big, and it's kind of underwhelming, and I don't even know what we're going to get in our offhand, because everybody else that has a main hand offhand kind of thing knows at least what they're putting in their offhand. I could get on board with this dagger if they make it like 12% bigger, give it some weird cool effect. Like, I know it's got an eyeball in it now. Just make that eyeball like move and blink, and then like maybe ooze a little bit of blood, because, you know, we want to be creepy. And give me just like something really cool in my offhand, like maybe a little collapsing mini void, like a dark star, or give me an eyeball, or give me a little tentacle to just like wheel around at people. I don't know, give me something really cool in my offhand, and I'll get on board with it. Speaking of tentacles, I don't know where this is in my list of things to talk about, but Shadow Priests, and this is, I paid a lot of attention to Shadow Priest stuff because I raided the Shadow Priest. They're taking away Shadow Orbs and mana, I guess, from Shadow Priests in terms of a resource. So orbs are gone, and they're going to be adding a new resource called Insanity that you build up, and then you use it, and as you get more and more insane, you get higher power. They haven't really ironed out all the kinks of how it's going to work, and of course we're going to have to see it in action to really figure anything out. But the part that I took away from that is when you have high insanity levels and you're like doing all your cool stuff, you get some tentacles that just like sprout right out of you. You go all like, you know how Garrosh went before, you know, at the end of his fight in Siege of Orgrimmar, or, you know, Cho'Gall and that thing in Cataclysm where he had all the tentacles. No, when did he have all the tentacles? Was that in Cataclysm or was that in Heimdall? Anyways, tentacles. Yeah. I'll be really excited to see what they look like. Hopefully they size up the dagger a little bit. I can get on board with having a dagger. It's just got to be really, really cool. And that's that. They talked a bit more about class halls. They didn't really tell us anything super specific aside from the fact that they unveiled a couple more of them. Druids will have this place called Dream Grove in the Broken Isles. And then they talked about the things that they want from their class halls in terms of having everybody feel like they belong there and having icons of the class there, and that's all cool and fine. It's nothing to be super, super excited about. What else do we have? Leveling zone scaling. This is something they're really excited about. And people have a lot of feelings about it, and I'm fine with it. I'm not upset. It's just I don't feel super excited about it. So what leveling zone scaling means is that when you're leveling from level 100 to 110, you'll go to the Broken Isles, and you can do the zones in any order you want, and you can group up with a player who is at a different level, and you can go do a zone with them, and it'll scale to each of your levels individually. So while that sounds like very cool tech, and it seems like a convenient thing to do, and they're saying, oh man, leveling also be able to do it in any order, well, that's great, and it's cool that you'll be able to have some variety there, but it's not like you're doing different stuff. You're just doing the zones in a different order when there's only like 5 of them. There's only so much variety that's really going to have. So, I mean, that's great, and I will certainly take advantage of it, and it's kind of neat that presumably they will scale up to 110 once you're done so that they have more of the continent to work with when making endgame content. But I'm not super, super, super stoked that I can do them in any order. It's great. Yay. It's convenient, but I think it may be a bit of a misallocation of resources if it took them a huge amount of time to do, but that's just me. I don't know, maybe it was really easy. Maybe it'll be super cool. Maybe there's some implication that I haven't thought of yet and that I'll think of once I'm doing it, or that somebody else will point out to me. But it sounds fine. I'm not upset. A lot of people pointed out to Guild Wars 2 having level scaling and having that make you feel like you're not actually gaining power. From the sounds of it, these zones will only scale in level. They're not going to scale in gear with you, and most of your power scaling in WoW comes after you hit max level. Like in WoW right now, in Warlords, you get to level 100. If you are a fresh level 100, you're at item level like 610 or whatever, and you're walking around a Grand, a pack of wolves is still going to kick your butt. And that's, like, they're going to kick your butt exactly the same as if you've been level 99. But once, you know, you've grown up and you've gone to Tanan and you've gotten your stuff and you've gone to a raid and you're like, I'm level 700 because you've done a bunch of raids and you're a raider now. Those pack of wolves are going to fall over when you sneeze on them. And both of those scenarios happen at the same level. And presumably, in Legion, these zones, sure, they'll scale with you as you level, but once you get to level 100, they'll scale to your 100 spot, which presumably you could take them on without any gear, and they stop. And almost all the power creep that happens is going to happen with your gear, so you're still going to feel like you're gaining power as you gear up. And it's not like the little leveling kobolds or whatever are going to murder you as you go to pick your flowers once you're at max level, because presumably you'll have some gear. It just means that you can level in any order is basically what it boils down to. So that is level scaling. Legion pre-order is now available. I'm pretty sure, I'm 99% sure, because I think somebody took a screenshot of it, that if you pre-order now, I know you get the boost right away, because people are already using their 100 boosts. I think you get the mount and the pet. I think you get Nibbles and the Fellstalker mount right away. I haven't seen any of them in-game, but I've seen people taking screenshots of them that presumably they didn't take for the Legion thing. So I guess you get those right away. I don't see why not. I think it worked like that with Warlords pre-orders. But in any case, you can get the Digital Deluxe, which gets you the pet and the mount for, what, $70? $69? $79? It's 70 or $80. Maybe it's 60. I'm really out of touch on these things. You can pre-order the regular version, of course. Both of those versions will get you your level 100 boost that you can presumably use right away. I don't know what I'm going to use mine on. I have 10 level 100 characters on my Alliance server. The only thing that's not 100 is my little monk, and she's level like 70 something, and she's got 24 hours of her buff, so I'll be able to finish her pretty quickly whenever I want to. I think, now this sounds insane, but I think I might use it on a third Alliance Druid for PvP, because when I leveled my first alt Druid for PvP, I was like, I want to have my main second queue at 2200 rating, and if I start tanking, I'll just stop queuing, and I'll just queue with my best teams. And that way I'll be able to get practice at 2200 and have a character there. And then I'll have this other character that's alt that I can queue with anybody so that I can always find queues. I can always get into groups. I can be less picky about who I'm grouping with. And I can just play lots and lots and lots of games at any MMR so that I can get practice. And what turned out happening was on my alt, I managed to push up to like 2200. And I'm still hesitant to group with like 1700 groups, because if I lose all that rating, it's going to be harder for me to pug at 2200 freely on my alt, I guess, and because I don't really want to pug on my main. I want to keep my main for like groups that I've kind of vetted. And it's really, really useful to be able to practice queuing a lot of games at 2100 MMR. So what I need now, and this may be a vicious cycle that continues forever until I'm just drowning in druids, but I kind of want a third druid that is specifically for really low MMR. I kind of want to call it my drunk druid. I've already started leveling it before I found out about this boost. He's like level 27 or so. It's actually a male night elf, because I knew I was going to need to be a night elf, but I already have 2 female night elves, and that's like a lot. So it's a male night elf. His name is Hazelbro, because I think that's hilarious. And this is like my drunk druid. So if I'm ever just like wasted or even slightly tipsy, because I can't play WoW unless I'm stone cold sober if I'm going to be any good at it. So, but if I've ever had a glass of wine with dinner and I'm feeling kind of goofy and I want to play some arena, but I don't want to actually ruin my rating and ruin other people's lives, I want to have this drunk druid that I can just play like 1600 CR and under arenas, and I can pug with like 1500 pugs on the group finder, and you know, help people out that way and make new friends. I could do viewer games on my stream. Like, and then if he ever gets to like 1700, I just tank him again, because I want to have a low CR druid. So I might boost that, because I've already leveled a lot of druids. I'm leveling a horde druid as well, so I can play on horde if I ever need to. And maybe I'll just boost that, because I already have everything else. I mean, if I ever want to make a new main, I already have the class leveled up, so I could just race change it if I want to race change and reinvent myself there. I really don't know what I want to play for Legion. I'm going to have to see how everything plays in beta. I may just randomize it. I don't know if I want to heal. I don't know if I want to keep DPSing. I don't know if I want to be a Shadow Priest. I could be a Warlock. I could be a Hunter. I could be a Shaman. I don't know. I don't know what I want to do, guys. I do know I need to stop talking, though, because I kind of still have a cold. That's the reason I've been not streaming for the last couple of days. I took a couple of days off stream because I got sick. I thought I was going to be able to keep streaming through it, but then it got really bad, and I didn't want to talk, and I kind of wanted to curl up in a blanket and pretend that I wasn't alive. So I took a couple days off just to sleep like a lot and drink a lot of water and not talk to anybody. And I'm feeling almost better. I'm probably going to stream at least a little bit tonight, but I'm not going to push it, because every time I push myself a little bit too hard while I'm on the recovering end of sickness, I like fall back into it. So I'm going to take it easy for another couple days, and I have been off just because I've been sick. I'm almost better. It's just a cold. I just have the sniffles. But should be fine soon. but I'm going to take it easy. So maybe a really short stream tonight. So that is that. What else did we find out? Probably lots. I probably missed everything. They announced world dropped legendaries, legendaries that are available in a world drop kind of manner. They seem less significant than the current legendary. Obviously, there's no gigantic quest chain to go get it, but they mentioned you'll be able to target which ones you want, and they're just super rare world drops that have cool effects. So that's kind of neat. I'm gonna enjoy hunting for those, and not much else to say until we get into beta. So I may make more individual videos with possibly just vlogs like this that just have my thoughts on more specific issues and everything that we've learned about them and directions they could go if I think of anything else I want to talk about. I would love to hear what you guys think. So I want to hear specifically the thing that you were most excited for that came out of BlizzCon. It doesn't have to be WoW specific. If you're real jazzed about the new Diablo patch or something about StarCraft or something about Heroes. I actually watched a lot of Heroes this weekend because mostly while I was waiting for the WoW things to happen, I just ended up watching a lot of the Heroes competitions, and those were really cool. Let me know what you think, what you're most excited for, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.